Imagine there's one country the world's most powerful nations simply cannot ignore, not because it's the biggest or the richest. Whenever tension rises there, global markets react, governments pay attention, and the world starts watching. But why? What makes one country's location so important that it can influence trade, energy, and global security? The answer isn't politics. It's geography. And perhaps no country proves that better than Iran. What makes one country's location so valuable that the world can never ignore it? For thousands of years, history has followed the map. Empires didn't rise by accident, and the world's most important places weren't chosen by people. They were shaped by geography. Some nations inherited vast oceans. Others were protected by towering mountains. Some controlled rivers that built entire civilizations. But a few were given something even more valuable, a location that connected the world. Iran is one of those places. Look at a map and you'll understand why. It sits between East and West, linking Asia, the Middle East, and some of history's most important trade routes. For centuries, merchants, explorers, and empires crossed this land, not because they wanted to, but because geography left them little choice. Long before airplanes, satellites, or the internet, this region had already become one of the world's greatest crossroads. And today, its location may be more important than ever. Because just beyond Iran's southern coast lies one of the most strategically important waterways on Earth. A place so narrow, yet so important, that the modern world still depends on it. But what makes this narrow stretch of water so valuable that every major power keeps watching it? Why does this narrow stretch of water matter to billions of people who have never even heard its name? This is the Strait of Hormuz. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary passage between two coastlines. But appearances can be deceiving. Every single day, enormous oil tankers, LNG carriers, container ships, and cargo vessels pass through these waters, carrying energy and goods to countries across the globe. For many nations, this isn't simply another shipping route. It's a lifeline, the fuel that powers factories, the energy that lights cities, and countless products used every day. All begin part of their journey through this narrow gateway. The remarkable part is that most people will never see this place. Yet every time they fill a car with fuel, receive an online order, or use products shipped from across the world, this waterway may have already played a role. What makes the Strait of Hormuz extraordinary isn't its size. It's the fact that geography offers no easy replacement. Even in an age of satellites, artificial intelligence, and advanced technology, the world still depends on a passage nature created thousands of years ago. Sometimes, the most powerful places on Earth aren't the biggest. They're the ones the world simply cannot afford to ignore. And that raises an even bigger question. If this waterway is so important, why does the country beside it hold so much influence? To answer that, we have to understand Iran itself. Why does one country attract the attention of every major power? The answer is written into the map itself. The United States wants global trade to keep flowing. China depends on reliable energy supplies to power its industries. Europe relies on secure shipping routes. And many countries across the Middle East depend on the same gateway to reach international markets. Different nations, different priorities, one strategic location. That's why every major development around Iran is watched so closely. But geography is only part of the story. Over the years, Iran's influence has grown far beyond its borders. Its regional role, its nuclear program, and its relationships with neighboring countries have kept it at the center of international attention. When tensions rise, governments respond, financial markets react, shipping companies review their routes, and investors begin watching every headline. Because in today's world, uncertainty can travel just as quickly as cargo. That's what makes Iran so important. Not because it controls the world, but because its geography and strategic position give it influence far beyond its borders. But what happens when a place this important faces serious instability? The answer can reach far beyond the Middle East and into the everyday lives of billions of people. What happens when one strategic location suddenly becomes unstable? The effects don't stop at the shoreline. Energy prices can rise, shipping becomes more expensive, insurance costs increase, companies begin paying more to move goods across the world. One disruption can trigger a chain reaction through global supply chains. Factories wait longer for materials. Airlines face higher fuel costs. Businesses adjust prices. And families thousands of kilometers away may eventually pay more for everyday products. This is the hidden power of geography. A single location can influence decisions made in boardrooms, financial markets, and government offices across the globe. That's why countries work so hard to keep these trade routes open. Because the modern economy doesn't depend only on technology. It also depends on a few critical places that keep the world connected. Iran is one of those places, not because it controls the entire world, but because its geography gives it lasting strategic importance. But perhaps the biggest lesson isn't about Iran at all. It's about something far more powerful: the way geography continues to shape the future of civilization. What does Iran teach us about the world? Perhaps the biggest lesson isn't about politics or war. It's about geography. Countries don't choose where they're born, but their location can shape their history, their economy, and their place in the world. For thousands of years, geography has guided trade, built civilizations, and influenced the rise of powerful nations. Today, satellites, artificial intelligence, and modern technology have transformed our lives. Yet geography still matters. The mountains remain. The oceans remain. The trade routes remain. And the places that connect the world remain just as important. Iran is one example. A reminder that some of history's greatest advantages weren't created by people. They were created by the map itself. Perhaps that's the true lesson of this story. The world isn't shaped only by the decisions people make. It's also shaped by the places they can never ignore. Sometimes the greatest power isn't found in armies or economies. Sometimes it's found in geography. The next time you look at a map, remember, those lines don't just separate countries. Sometimes they shape history. They guide trade, influence economies, and quietly affect the lives of billions of people every single day. Iran is only one example, because this story was never just about one country. It was about the power of geography and the way it continues to shape our modern world. History isn't always written by the strongest armies or the richest nations. Sometimes it's written by the places the world can never ignore. Thanks for watching.